Well, we're getting our wash in done. It's all very dark. It's all very muted. It's on the cold side. That's what I want. I've just laid in some dark lines in the foreground here, as I have, as I did on this piece of land, using ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. Now, as I did with these rocks, I'm going in here with pretty much straight raw umber. It's thin, well, straight raw umber. When I'm washing something in, I'm always adding some paint thinner or some turpentine to thin the paint off. When I say straight raw umber, all I mean is I'm not adding any other color. It's just simply raw umber, and that's it. So we'll get that foreground covered. And then maybe what I'll do is square off the camera and go through again the colors. Maybe I haven't really gone through the colors yet, but I'll go through the colors that I've laid on thus far. And you can see from my perspective how the painting's coming. I have a bit of bush here. I want it to catch light, a little bit of light, but I don't want to paint it to be light. So I'm going to go, I've still got a little bit of thinned off raw umber here. I'm going to add some yellow ochre to it, and a touch of ultramarine blue, so that we go in the direction of green. Now it's wet. You will not see much of a difference on camera, but the difference in color between what I'm laying in here and what was laid in here, the difference in color is definitely there. I have almost as low a value with these trees that I'm just washing in now as I do in the rest. But the temperature of that low value is higher. It's a warmer color, slightly. Really not that important. I could have painted the entire mass dark, and later when I did the overpainting, changed things a bit. Allow me to just... This is kind of weak right there. Probably don't have to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, now I'm playing, and I should stop. Okay. Let me move my chair so I'm a little bit out of your way. Let me move the camera. Okay, we'll zoom in so that you can see without any foreshortening, so that you can actually see the canvas more accurately. Okay. So we have, don't need my face in there. So we have gray sky, gray water. The grays in the sky, I've used a mixture of cobalt blue and ultramarine blue and raw umber. I've used more raw umber up here because I want this sky to end up having a bit of a silver feel to it instead of just blue. Down here I did use some raw umber and ultramarine blue in these darker areas, but mostly ultramarine blue. So water, ultramarine blue, sky, cobalt blue with a touch of ultramarine, just to change the feel of it a little bit. This is only the wash-in. Again, that's not so important that I did that. The crest of this mountain, I had it sort of running off the canvas in this way. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to cut into it a little bit because it helps to push things over a little. This mountain can dive down, or this landmass can dive down. This one goes up and drops off again. It helps to avoid, you know, same shape, same shape. We're trying to avoid symmetry here. We want to be asymmetrical. Where the talus and the scree, you know, where there has been some rock slide here and there on the distant shore, I've washed in with raw umber. Here, raw umber. Here, raw umber. With hints of well, the lines are put in with ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. These trees are all, the background here is all ultramarine blue and a little bit of burnt sienna. I wanted to make this stronger, you know, right from the get-go, right from my wash-in. This needs to stand out. This needs to get pushed back. So ultramarine blue on the right, where I want that strength. Cobalt blue on the left. Ultramarine blue burnt sienna. Cobalt blue burnt sienna. As I paint more in this hill, I'm going to be adding hints of white here and there. Maybe add a little alizarin crimson. Go into a little bit of mauve, a little bit of purple, just in a few spots. Probably going to go very slightly mauve-ish on these rocks and this foreground in places as well. So we don't just have sort of mauve in one area. I'd like it to be in a few different areas. That will help to offset and exaggerate the blue that is in the gray. You know, what it'll really do is offset the green, or complement the green rather, I suppose. And although, you know, it's not really a green painting, these trees are not going to be overly green. There will be a few spots where I'll pick up green. But I never touch things like sap green. Well, that's not even so bad. Viridian green can be very strong. I tend to leave those things alone. I can make those colors from other colors I have in my palette. And I don't like cluttering my palette with colors out of the tube when I can replicate them with other colors. It's good. It's great practice. It helps you to learn how to mix. Let me just back this up a little bit. Okay, so I don't like a huge palette. I like to restrict it. It forces you to learn how to mix your colors. And if you were to take, for example, take cobalt blue, add to that a little bit of cad yellow pale. Depending on the company that you bought these paints from, cobalt blue and cad yellow pale brings you very close to viridian green. Now, you can use phthalo blue instead of cobalt blue as well. That's even stronger. But see, if I take a little bit of cobalt or phthalo blue and lay it on a little blob in my mixing area on my palette, and then I add my cad yellow pale to it, and I don't kill it. I don't mix and mix and mix and mix. I just run the brush through it a few times, and then I lay it on. You still end up with viridian green, but because of the slight variations, you know, a clump of 3 bristles on that brush might have more cad yellow pale, and another clump of 5 might have more cobalt blue, and another clump of 2 may have a little more of the 2 mixed well. So what you end up with is, even in that one brush stroke, you end up with a little bit of variety, a little ribbon of variety running through even one stroke. Avoid overmixing your colors, because if you do overmix your colors before you even put them on the canvas, you're killing the canvas before you even made the painting, or you're killing the painting before you even made it. Anyway, if I were just to take a stroke of viridian green out of a tube and lay it on there, all you've got is viridian green. So when you back up or you stand close, all you've got is viridian green. If you mix your own viridian green without overmixing it, you stand back, you have viridian green. You get in a little closer and you start to see a bit of a melody going on there, a little bit of a melody, of a medley. Anyway, I hope I explained that reasonably clearly. This is what it's going to sit. I'll reattack it next week. You know, the sky, I know I don't have much design in the sky. Again, I don't want the sky to be too important. But I want my silver to sit in here. I want to maintain this area. Let's make an oval and let's call it this. This would be my area of interest, so to speak. You know, focal point. Focal point is probably about here. Focal point's not that important. Why make it a point where you can make it a little larger, and everybody's going to view it slightly different? So, you know, I don't want to be too rigid about those things on myself, and I wouldn't suggest you worry too much about it either. On a drawing, a technical drawing, certainly focal points, vanishing points, all these kinds of things, yeah, they're more important. This is a painting. Let's keep it painterly. Hope you have a good weekend. Hope you're having a good weekend so far. Talk to you soon.